incredible if you are this woman. Leigh-Ann Allaire Perrault, our DIY guru. So good to have you here. And this is the perfect topic for you. It's the perfect show for you because you know how to save a buck and you're very creative. So you know how to do it all on your own.
And I love a challenge.
Yes,
and
you
this,
do.
to me, this is probably the biggest decor challenge I've ever taken on. Decorating for $0. I wasn't sure if it was possible, but I ended up selling all of my goods.
Okay.
And made a killing profit in about a month online.
Yes.
I made just over $1,200.
Really?
Yes.
So you sold everything you didn't want in that space?
Everything in that space, plus I had a stove in the garage, which I have to tell you, using online and social media for selling items, you respond to ads, and I had like a great app that I was working with, and the stove in particular, somebody came by to pick it up. It ends up that it's a friend of a friend that we had lost touch with, and through selling our used items, we've reconnected with people from our past, which was really cool as well, and made money while we were doing it.
You made money.
Yes.
You made old friends new again.
Exactly.
It's like your life is incredible.
Oh, I met amazing people.
Your life is perfect
I bought
now.
art from a former gallery owner.
Wow.
I bought like some great hardware, which you'll see in a little bit, from a product designer. Like amazing people with amazing finds at great prices.
Lovely.
Great prices.
Okay, so you're starting with a budget because you actually have money now, and you're also starting with a plan.
So a plan is so important, especially when you might think, okay, $1,200 is a very healthy budget, but when you start spreading that around a room, that money can go very quickly.
Yes.
And my goal was to break even for the entire space. So creating a visual roadmap, I think, is so important regardless of your budget. But especially when you're working in the secondhand economy, which I was, with that budget I wanted to dive back in and buy a lot of used and previously loved items. So I created a visual roadmap because I really needed to narrow in on what the functional pieces would be for the space, and then how I wanted the style to resonate. So I started with a color scheme because adding paint and color is very affordable regardless of your budget and what your space is. But then I knew I wanted to introduce some key pieces, a dresser, a folding screen was on the wish list, but I didn't know if I'd be able to find something. But that's where, again, when you're shopping online, you start searching those keywords of wood folding screen, and miraculously, well, you'll have to see in the after whether I found one or not. But having this roadmap is important for one reason in particular. When you're shopping secondhand and in the secondhand economy, it can be so overwhelming when you're looking at older pieces that maybe aren't necessarily your style and taste. But if you focus in and narrow in on shape and size, those are two things you can't change. What you can change is finish and color.
That's right.
So if you have, like, I always say glasses of potential, where your glasses of potential to see what those pieces could be, I wasn't likely to find an interesting coral chair. But I did search interesting chair and found a very interesting chair that I could make the color of my choice.
Got it.
So that's really the key when you're shopping.
Now, I will say the other thing about having a plan is not just to have it all in your mind, how it's all going to work together, but this is going to save you money. Because otherwise, you're going to go out there and you're going to find pieces that don't even work together.
It's squirrel syndrome. You go, oh, I like that squirrel. Like, I'll take one of everything. And then you end up with a room full of stuff again. So the goal was to get rid of the stuff. So narrowing in and knowing I only needed one chair, not 6, even though I found like 36 that I loved online. But it's picking those key pieces, and even things, I'm going to actually point out the desk, and you'll see in the after that although my original idea was for a desk, I ended up finding free lumber online and built my own work ledge. So you have to be flexible with the plan as well, a little bit, but figuring out those key functional items.
Okay, so do we want to show them some transformations now?
I want to show you some of like my favorite pieces from the space.
Okay, we need to look at the before shot first. Okay, we're going to take a look at this chair.
So speaking of interesting chair, I loved this because it had some very feminine lines. Again, shopping for the shape. And when we talk about size, it was actually like a chair and a half width.
Oh, my bum likes that. My bum's like, yes.
That I like to sit cross-legged when I work, so you get kind of cozy in there. So I love the femininity and wanted to add a little bit more femininity. Now, you know, originally I thought coral. But you can change your plan. Nothing's set in stone.
You're allowed.
I actually decided to do a little something like this. Keeping in mind the chair's $30 to start with.
Show us.
What do you think of that?
Whoa! Incredible.
So this was such a fast last weekend warrior project, a little bit of chalked paint in this gorgeous blushing pink color. And then for the seat cushion, this was just a fur rug that I reupholstered the seat with. So something I already had around my house. So I was able to make it really cozy and tactile, and again, fitting the visual vibe of what I wanted for the space.
It may skew a little bit feminine, but I'm sure your boys are also sitting in it, right?
They totally are.
They love it, right?
You know, like you just want to
nice on the tush. Okay, let's see the before shot of a table.
A little table.
Yes.
I absolutely wanted a pull-up table because my goal was to put in a daybed, and I wanted a pull-up table just to have accessible for an easy little additional piece in the space.
Okay.
Now, it was chrome to start with. Again, $30 on Kijiji. Like, what?
$30.
$30. Now, the before we saw was chrome, and some people might say, don't touch it, it's in perfect shape, but it didn't fit the style of my space. So with a quick coat of metallic spray paint. Table.
Yes.
About $10 worth of spray paint, metallic spray paint, and I now have a customized piece that perfectly fits the space and the function that I needed within that room.
So you're not necessarily going to find those customized pieces if you're just going out shopping in a showroom. So this is triply good because you are getting exactly what you need for your space.
I'm not paying retail prices. I'm customizing to fit my space, and I'm doing it all under budget.
That's
very affordably. So that's like a trifecta of awesome, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
So your last piece.
My last piece was a dresser that I spotted online. Now this guy in particular, when you see the before, $30 again. Like honestly, you can't beat that price. But when you look at the ad and it said needs love in brackets, I was like, oh, I will love you. Like I can make that happen. I can give the love. So the love came in the form of some fresh paint.
Yes.
And some brand new hardware. I'm ready for the reveal. Look at this.
Wow.
So this has almost become like that little focal point in the space where before it was the ugly duckling and now it's like the beautiful princess.
Gorgeous.
I really love it. And one thing that I actually really loved when I talked before about meeting people, the product designer that I met, she actually was selling this vintage hardware. It ended up, we sat down in a coffee shop, talked for about 30 minutes about this hardware. It was her grandmother's. And she was so thankful and happy that it was getting a second life and that it would be used in a very loving project. So I have to send her pictures of this so she can see it. But really, $115 in total for this entire dresser between the paint, the dresser, the new hardware, which is like vintage hardware.
Yes,
you can't find something like this in a store.
Good vibes all around LA. Like this is beautiful.
All around.